Hello. Thank you for joining me. Onions. To be sure, she felt him at her elbow in the crowd of the kitchen, or at black midnight, but most of all when the trees changed their leaves from green to gold, tossing away one dress for another, and finally, bone naked through the winter and the rain, gray arms, fingers scratching at the sky, forlorn, as if to say, once I was beautiful, once your sun shone upon me in my plot of fine mowed grass, bordered by a walk of slate blue hexagons, so orderly. My timber and my roots are the self-same ones you loved and stroked so many months ago. What changed? She cannot tell, but still catches a whiff of him, resonant as onions, heavy upon the breath. Above the fold. The leader, black on cream, or perhaps black on salmon pink, surmounts the letters to the editor, the sidebar on the facing page, featuring a low-backed gown in velvet, the mannequin's face turned coyly from us. Not so on the page of editorials. With full force they bleat and bray, nay, sometimes in unison, more often not, bellowing. The printer's devil and the pressmen in their squared paper hats, amidst the thrum, thrum, thrum of paper and metal mixed, the din they speak above, their dulcet tones, a better music still. Calendar blues. Be still and quit fretting at the years increasing one by one until they are counted in decades, each amber bead containing those reflections mirrored back, held for all time in that honeyed thickness. She heard him before she saw him, love coming in at the ears. The hoarfrost has not reached his chin, the journey still not done, and he, in her eyes, as young as he ever was. Sky blue Cadillac. Blanket of snow tucked across the highway, and you and I in a dream together, you in that sky blue Cadillac, ever the American optimist, me simply wishing for warm feet. And love you? Yes, I did, with the whiteness of the snow, the blueness of the eye that first beheld you. Until I woke, word-weighted, weary, tired to the bone, diagramming your sentences endlessly. Message in a bottle. Send me a quilt to keep me warm in Coventry. Some light novels, too, the better to while away the time with until you join me here. Amber bottled, the curling note of scrawling script goes on. Bring firewood, too, and some tea, a kettle and some cups, to break the morning, long before the sun slips down and I sleep again in the shade, and some news of you, too. And a red lipstick, blue undertoned, a flint for fire, writing paper, and more bottles, please. There is so much more I want to say. Counting the leaves of ivy, until I see you next. Ancestor worship. We leap from the shoulders of those who came before, names in black, white, each thin column a multitude of multitudes, towering Babel, St. George, Perseverance, Alhambra, Junius, Stephen Whitney, Sarah Mitchelson, James Morrison, Mary Flynn, Anne Doyle, Bridget Cullen, Michael Costello, Patrick Maguire, Ireland, country to which they belong, United States, country they intend to inhabit. So many more, leaving one shore for another, where know-nothing copper-plate script protests for the amplest protection to Protestant interests, and no Irish need apply. Built up from stone streets, the ward boss and his nightingale, the bricklayer and the cook, the iron worker reaching always for the heavens. For them set out the bread, thickly buttered, tea, lamb cutlets, ishkavaha, and pipes of fine tobacco. Fireworks. Like fireworks that July evening, exploding in waves, again waves shuddering across the skies, black otherwise, bereft of stars, then a moon hidden by fog, and your hand in mine, it seemed for all eternity. Ah, the scattered grey stones shall speak yet, the earth spade riven to make a mouth, wetly black, all devouring. Framed and mounted. Still life in greys and blacks before dawn turned to day, and all the multitude of things to be accomplished somehow in that short space of time. The tints vivid, the blood-red marbled white, while the end papers of a forgotten book, still life, the still life of grey, black, somehow underexposed, beneath quilted covers, the half-tones she flips through absent-mindedly, wishing for the rosy fruits, tinted gold at their edges, cupped in porcelain, metal-banded, the feathers of an errant fowl, scattered beneath them so carelessly. Light, squared. Lights from Broadway, park-bordered, reflect your profile as you grip the steering wheel and peer upwards at the traffic lights, triune brights under a curtain of rain, your lovely bones casting their long shadows still, the spare movement across the stage in October and burning always again and ever, the light streams through windows many-paned, trees turn to gold, again, 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 oh, not knowing and yet knowing, the voice is always carrying through the clear air, an echo of memory when night gives way to day, sun glinting on copper domes, green smithied. Boarding the black dog. The black dog must go, that much is certain, but when? His ebon eyes implore, wide as the twinned cups of tea she pours, hot, dark as a night without moon or fireplace to light the way. Old familiar head nuzzling her lap, snapping up the bits of bacon falling from her table, baring his teeth, the color of ancient ivory, in a grin so sly she shudders, turning her face to the wall. Still he will join her later in bed, nipping at her ankles. While she tries in vain to sleep, he turns, and settles himself squarely upon her chest. In the morning, so tired even, draughts of coffee will not wake her, and she stumbles from chair to street to market aisle, and he dogs her heels, tearing her stockings. She hears the clicking of his nails until, and with such relief, off to his kennel, away he goes. Wedding cake. Perhaps, after all was said and done, a simple affair would have been best. Bereft of flowers garlanding the aisles, the crisp linens shrouding the tables, the reckoning as long as a hospital bill, and me in ivory and you in black, perfectly topping that multi-tiered confection of sugar, butter, eggs, flour, royal and almond icing, surely a cake to be dreamt upon, sliced with a serrated blade, placed into tiny boxes, white, beribboned. Venn diagram. Coffee-colored the rings were, the words bleared over, sugary wet, corralled in their neat columns, jumbled one atop the other, intersecting to make a chain, ring upon ring, binding the words, black upon white, beneath them the familiar dictionary, read out by rote each morning in staid sentences, and will the circle be unbroken? He shows with a flourish the silver rings which become one, then two, then three, then one again, tossed to the heavens, where they disappear finally into black. Smoothing the paper out beneath the coffee cups twinned and blue above the fold, remembering Kilroy and that last pair of dry socks. As white smoke rises from the chimney across the road, the highway disappearing long past squared wires of a screen to keep things out, keep things in, the errant flower pot crashed to muddy sherds upon the floor. Bread of haste. Crumbling the bread of haste into a bowl of vegetable soup, she does not think of 40 long years or even 40 days, but of the 48 hours before calm comes to rest, blue upon her shoulders like an old friend or lover, the touch familiar, light as a scarf rounding her neck, the stretch of silence, silk glimmering, held only for a moment between her teeth. Undomesticated scenery. Tipple-topple, the silver pan lids are clashing cymbals clattering to the floor, the milk scorched into a honeycomb adhering to the bottom of a pot, while the dust mice slowly grow, fat and grey. And 6 loads of laundry sit, obdurate, waiting to be done. The nose unwiped went off to school. The telephone rings with news of the latest accident. But she is not here to hear it. Thank you very much, and I hope to speak to you again soon. Bye-bye until then.